Hey guys, welcome to Rad Tech Reviews. Kyle here. Today we're going to be talking about the DC Universe's Suicide Squad. The first one. So, definitely the lesser of the two, unfortunately, but it is, I think, better than people give it credit for. So go ahead and like and subscribe. You can follow my Twitter or my Letterboxd. Both of those are down in the description below. My hair is fucking crazy. It is windy as fuck outside today in Oklahoma. Yeah, spoilers, obviously, so let's go ahead and get into it. Got like a devil horn thing going on. There's a lot to like in this movie. Like a whole lot, like a bunch. The main problem is you can tell there's studio involvement as far as the editing and what things being cut out, left in, that kind of stuff. So if we did ever get a director's cut, I could see this going way up the list in terms of likability, because I bet there's a much better film in there if we had more of the content. It did feel like, it's funny that James Gunn directed the second Suicide Squad after doing Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, because this first Suicide Squad definitely feels like they were trying to emulate some of that Guardians of the Galaxy magic, like with the soundtrack and with the group of bad guys doing good type of thing. Now the characters here, you know, with Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Deadshot and everything, a lot more well known than Guardians, but in the end it didn't work as well. You know, that comes down to, I think, Warner Brothers versus the MCU. It just is what it is, you know. So in the beginning, we kind of get this start to it with everybody in their cells. You get your little introduction as to kind of who the players are going to be. Obviously, Will Smith's going to take top billing, and then Margot Robbie right after that. So they definitely get the biggest background and everything. And I like Will Smith a lot as Deadshot. I think he did a great job. I think his character's definitely a badass. So I really don't have much. He's by far, I think, I wouldn't say he's the best part of the film, because I actually really, really like Jared Leto's Joker, and everything involving him and Harley Quinn I think is awesome. He's not my favorite Joker by any means, but I really like what he brought to the table. But I would say Will Smith, probably the best character. You know, you get the daddy-daughter development in the background. Me being a dad, I can always relate to that kind of stuff. So I love that his character really puts her at the forefront of what he wants. You know, we have that scene where he's kind of telling him, all right, I'll do this, but this is what I want. You know, he wants the white people that shit, get her in college. I really like that kind of stuff. And then Margot Robbie, she's great as Harley Quinn. I think upon this rewatch, I did find her dialogue to be a little cringe. Some of the one-liners that she had, they were a little too cheesy. You know, like she breaks the glass and she's like, "We're bad guys. It's just what we do." That's too on the nose for my taste. A little too meta. But she looks great as Harley Quinn. She plays it well. And I love the background stuff we get, kind of her transition from Dr. Quinzel to Harley Quinn, along with Jared Leto, especially the scene where he pushes her into the vat of chemicals. That might be my favorite scene in the whole thing. And then Jared Leto, obviously, is by far the most controversial thing in this movie. A lot of people hated his performance. He went full method into it, from what you read and everything, which I can see how from like the cast and staff that'd probably be annoying as fuck, but I like what he brought to the table. I thought he did a good job. And again, I'm gonna say this throughout all of these DC reviews is, you know, you get that little tease of him at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we'll never get to see the follow-up to that, bringing him back, because I thought throwing him in there with Snyder as the director was awesome. I would love to see more of that Jared Leto Joker under Snyder's kind of control. Get a Batman and a Flash cameo. That was definitely cool when I saw this in theaters, to kind of help connective tissue of the universe. I don't know that the Flash, he doesn't really line up with like the movie and stuff, because he seemed very confident in his little moment with Captain Boomerang, but from what we know of him from Justice League and from his own movie, he's far from confident. He's very incompetent in a lot of ways as a hero, mostly because of his age. But then you get, I think the main thing that doesn't work for me in this is just the villain side of it. Had Joker been the main focus as the bad guy, or had they done something like Slade Wilson and brought Deathstroke in here, who's fucking badass, I think it would have worked a lot better. Instead, they went supernatural, beam in the sky, and with a bunch of faceless henchmen, which we've seen 1,000 times now. It's the same in the first Avengers. It worked there, and then they did it again in the second Avengers, but because that's Marvel, they were much better at knowing what they were doing. And I like the design of the faceless henchmen. They're kind of creepy looking. But man, were they easy to kill. You know, they were not a threat at all for the most part. I really like Joel Kinnaman. I think he did a great job. You know, he was fairly new to me. You know, if you want to go watch something badass, go watch season 1 of Altered Carbon with him. That show's pretty fucking cool. You got him. He's, you know, Cara Delevingne is Enchantress. And I really liked the background of that, where you get the cave and stuff, very horror-esque. But then when you actually have the Enchantress and everything, it turns into kind of just silly CGI. It just doesn't really work. You know, her brother is like barely a character at all. He's just a thing that's there. He has like no dialogue for the most part. And then at the end, when you get to the final confrontation and everything, that's when people like to make fun of, like, she just belly dances her way through battle, which is kind of true. And good for her being able to move her hips that way, but it looks pretty silly on screen. And again, that's the type of, I don't know how many times in the last 10 years we've seen a beam in the sky type threat, you know. It was in the Avengers, it was in the Fantastic Four remake, it was in this, it was in some other stuff too. I mean, the trope that has been used to death over the last decade. The El Diablo guy was definitely a highlight for sure. You know, he's kind of sworn off using his powers, and they get him out there and finally get him to do stuff anyways. But so he's one of the sacrifices by the end. So you get kind of a good payoff with him going like full Super Saiyan or whatever you want to call it at the end there. Killer Croc, I prefer a more monstrous looking Killer Croc like you'd see in the Arkham games. But I see how they were kind of trying to go for a more realistic take where he's kind of just man-sized with some extra strength. And the makeup on him was pretty cool. You know, he did have that crocodile, and I like the way he walked kind of in that back and forth way that a croc would swim. That was a nice touch of detail. I think Captain Boomerang's kind of the comedy relief, and you know, a lot of people don't like Jai Courtney. I thought he did good. I thought he does good when it comes to comedy. I really enjoyed him here. I think I've covered just about everything for the most part. Viola Davis, fantastic as Amanda Waller. I can't imagine a better choice. You know, I mean, it is unfortunate. Like when this came out, it kind of put to rest the Suicide Squad of the Arrowverse, which I really enjoyed. But some of the additions here, as far as Will Smith as Deadshot or Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, just far and above what you could ask for on a TV budget. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, if we ever get that director's cut, I would watch the shit out of that, and I would bet money that it would be leagues better than kind of the edited mess we ended up with in theaters. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks, guys.